You know, I'm gonna be honest with you. I had to look up what Colossal Grave-Reaver did. Hello, folks. Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU, here for another Legacy video. And today, Maxwell has given me a dealer's choice donation deck list that I am going to use to play a very spicy list that also won a challenge. So here we go. And before I get into things here, let me just say I'm trying to re-kickstart all of my analytics after this BNR period. So likes and comments on this video go a long way right now towards helping me get eyes on current Legacy, which honestly is really sweet. So this is a first place Legacy challenge list from Rude Slay. And this is Mono Black Reanimator with a slight sideboard juke. And this was a deck that people fully thought was dead after Entomb got banned. And by that, I specifically mean the mono black version. We knew that black red or blue black would still be a viable way to go and play this archetype. Colossal Grave-Reaver is a very interesting reanimation target. Whenever this creature enters or attacks, mill 3 cards. Whenever one or more creature cards are put into your graveyard from your library, put one of them onto the battlefield. So imagine that you cast a Dark Ritual on turn 1, you do something that puts this into the graveyard, and you reanimate it. You can, in theory, then go and chain into an Atraxa, and putting that Atraxa into play gets you a Stitcher Supplier and a Lotus Petal, and you use that Stitcher Supplier to go and mill cards, and then, oh, look, you hit another one. And one of my podcast co-hosts said, yeah, I played against this deck, and it passed the turn with 35 power in play. And that is just absolutely bananas. So the ceiling of what this deck is capable of doing very, very quickly is extremely high. And you'll notice that this deck is very, very heavy on discard to disrupt, and is even heavier than normal on the reanimation effects itself. Exhume often does not see play because it does give your opponent something, but the attitude of this deck is, yeah, so what? It is very possible for this deck to go insane with Cabal Therapy on turn 1, because not only can you cast it, you can also flash it back with Stitcher Supplier, which potentially can give you more creatures off of your Grave-Reaver. The sideboard plan features the infinite combo of Witherbloom Apprentice with Chain of Smog, so that when you go and cast your Witherbloom Apprentice and follow it up with Chain of Smog, you drain your opponent for 1 life each time that you copy a Chain of Smog targeting yourself. A couple other quick deck building notes here. We are a 61 card deck, and we have 2 ETB tapped lands while also being on 14 lands. So we occasionally might need to mulligan for not having viable mana, but we should not need a lot of mana to win, or at least make a win attempt. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hop into some matches here. Folks, if you need any cards, please consider getting them from my sponsor, TOAMagic.com. Use promo code ThrabenU to save a little bit on your order while always getting free shipping. You need some cards for Black Friday or a Christmas present or whatever, please consider checking them out. Let's battle. All right, we are playing against Cyrus, aka Crucible of Words. We have a great opening hand. Notice here with the double ETB tapped land, I don't have Unmask Myself and Reanimate on turn 1. I think I'm going to just go ahead and play this tapped on turn 1 and not unmask my opponent. I think I will keep that to be able to Thoughtseize my opponent, Reanimate, and unmask pitching Stitcher Supplier next turn. We don't want to see blue. Fuck, it's blue. It's potentially blue tempo as well. Let's start here before making the land drop. Some things could change where I end up playing this. Yes. I think Dark Depths? Cyrus is cooking. I think I'm just taking the Ponder here. Yeah, I'm just going to take that Ponder. Touch. Get an untapped land. Unmask. Target myself. Pitching a Stitcher Supplier. Getting rid of Atraxa, reanimating an Atraxa. So I will take Swamp, probably Stitcher's Supplier. I'm going to take Reanimate as the sorcery. I think I will take Stitcher's Supplier as the creature. Yeah, I think I'm good with that. I could try to set it up where I immediately get another Reanimate off if I draw a black card. No, I can't take Unmask and Reanimate at the same time. Never mind. So we only got 3 types off of our Atraxa, but hopefully that's fine. There's the Misty. We know that Ponder is gone. Ooh. Cyrus spiked a Stifle. I think that's fine overall. There's Stitcher's Supplier. Trigger. No hits. Send in for 7. Cyrus to 12. I'll do this. Surveil a Grizzlebrand to Yard. Would put me to 10. A little interesting. Excuse me, would put me to 9. Sure. I think it's borderline. Alright, looks like our good friend the Dreadnought is crashing in here. Bounce spells and trample are a thing. I think I am just looking to block like this still. I could maybe also block with Stitcher Supplier. Alright, that's kind of what I wanted to happen. There's a Dark Depths into play. I assume that whatever I want to do, I can do post-combat. Alright, is there a Brainstorm, or is this just save life? This is just save life. I think I will go ahead and draw some cards. Okay. I would like to get that Colossal Grave-Reaver into play for sure. Throw some mana into play. Now let's dismiss that and start on a Thoughtseize targeting you. We'll get rid of that Murktide Regent. You know, Tamiyo is the last card over there. I'll get that with a Cabal Therapy in a minute. I don't have a reanimation effect now, do I? I don't have a reanimation effect. Do that, target you. Take out the Tamiyo. Loop a Stitcher Supplier into play. Draw more. It's a reanimate, unfortunately. Not an animate, dead, or exhume. I think I will just go ahead and call it there. Let's discard the large. I'll leave 1 Grizzlebrand in hand and dump some lands. We just don't want to see Thespian Stage as the top decked card there. Then things can get a little awkward and I might need to hit for Colossal Grave-Reaver. So this is looking like mono blue tempo that has a Dark Depths plan B. How much graveyard hate am I actually fighting through here? If I believe that my opponent is going to have something like Ley Lines, then I probably need to board in at least 12 of these 15. And if I think it's going to be things like Surgicals instead, I think I just send the game 1 deck. So what would be the 15 that I board out? If I go down on creatures, this one gets worse. So that would be 7, and maybe that's 11 of 12. If I just want to board in 12, I could do that. I'm a little worse at getting the creatures into the graveyard without Stitcher Supplier, and my Cabal Therapies are a little worse if I do this. I'm just going to send the game 1 deck. I suspect that we're currently in a metagame where people are going down on graveyard hate and up on cards that interact with Delver. I am willing to keep this hand. I will just be hard discarding and Atraxa at a hand size. And there's no Leyline, which is great. That's not good for me, though. So the alternate plan is now hardcast something like a Grizzlebrand. Going to confirm, do I do anything that interacts with that? No, I don't have anything like a Boseiju here. So plan is punch a hole, hardcast a Grizzlebrand. There is Thespian Stage and a Tamiyo. Sure. Yeah. Mortuary. That doesn't get me closer to casting a Grizzlebrand, which we're relatively far away from. Let's see what's going on over there. Alright, there are dazes. I can surveil land yet again. Tamiyo will get the clue. No land drop there, which means there's a lot of interaction, which is not great for me. I think I'd keep Dark Ritual since hardcasting Grizzlebrand is the out. The other thing that I could potentially do is take a creature from my opponent and reanimate it. Yeah, you can draw. That's fine. Flooded Strand and Ponder. And Tamiyo just is doing the Tamiyo thing of spiraling the game out of control. Oh, I guess I can't reanimate my opponent's stuff, right? So then Flooded Strand clears the Ponder, and my opponent cracks another clue. I'm not dying in terms of my life total going down, but my opponent effectively has 8 cards in hand right now, and I've got a Grafdigger's Cage in play that I can't answer. And then there's the Dark Depths. So at this point, I think I can concede. Part of me really just wants to send this deck again, despite that happening, because Grafdigger's Cage can't come down on turn 1. But I guess I will now go ahead and sideboard. So let's go you out, you out, you out, and then I would need to cut 4 more cards, or just not play Duress. Or actually, maybe if I take Stitcher Supplier out, Duress is just better. Not 100% true, but then I don't need to do the blind name thing. Oh, that's awkward. So I don't have Stitcher Supplier in the deck right now. I can't use that to easily get something that gives me a reanimation target, so I think that's a mulligan. That's an incredibly awkward 6-card hand, where this is technically both pieces of a combo, but will lose to any sort of interaction, and is slow since I have to sink mana into this, 2 mana into Witherbloom, 2 mana into Chain of Smog. I think I'd rather go to 5. Alright. Delta, Lotus Petal, Dark Ritual, 4 mana on turn 1. I think on 5 this is a keep, and I just hope it goes somewhere good. Get rid of Duress. So I will fetch the Bayou, do the Dark Ritual, the Thoughtseize. Yes, I am taking the Force of Will here. The Lotus Petal, and this doesn't eat Force of Negation. I have Witherbloom Apprentice in play, but that's not overly impressive. 2 force effects would have eaten alive the, oh shit, nice. The 6-card hand. I don't get to attack into Tamiyo here. This is all around not great, though. Like, Brazen Borrower can bounce this out of play. I can't recast it right now. Tamiyo gets to just do the Tamiyo thing, and my opponent has a bunch of interaction. So I'm going to send in for 2 points of damage. I think I am just losing this game. I think Tamiyo buries me even more than these cards already do. There's the clue. There's Tarn. Tamiyo gets yet another clue. And all Surveil. We're looking at things that can punch through here. I mean, that helps. So I will Duress, which gets one of these. Shit. Alright, I'll take a Force of Will. That's so much interaction. Again, Tamiyo gets to just do this every turn. My opponent can hold up their mana safely. They have things that they can do with it. There is a Surveil land. I don't like that my deck just cannot physically answer a resolved Tamiyo. Tamiyo feels like the most important, important card in the Legacy metagame right now. And just not having anything that interacts with that seems quite bad. And this is one of those times where if you look at the life totals, I'm winning. And if you look at the context, like, Cage is in play, my opponent has 3 counterspells plus Brazen Borrower and draws 2 cards per turn. I do not believe that it is realistic for me. No Tamiyo attack? Okay. So if I cast a Chain of Smog targeting my opponent, they just hardcast Force of Negation, which is fine, and then I try again next turn. It's just much fairer than I would like this to be. We not only need to get through the Force of Negation, we also have to get through the Brazen Borrower. Stifle doesn't matter as much, the Daze doesn't matter as much. I've got to get rid of these 2. Okay, that's incredible. Now this is not in play, but I was targeting my opponent anyway. Oh, I see, my opponent can now just target it back at me. And we do this mutually assured destruction thing. Hate that. I will copy that. back at my opponent. They discard 2, but they have Tamiyo in play. Okay, they're just going to Force of Negation that. I think I'm just going to concede there. I think we're not winning versus the Tamiyo that has been active for 5 turns. GG. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. If you're looking to store your decks online, you're not going to find a better website. It's super organized and easy to use, and I sort everything that I do into a ton of format-specific folders, and you can customize the way that you use Moxfield to your liking. Whether you like text views or visual views of multiple different natures, Moxfield has it all. And it's so easy to use, you might even say that it's a snap. My hand is missing a large creature. I have 3 ways to reanimate things. I think we just mulligan that. Do I settle in for a longer game? That's not really what I want to do playing the 14 land combo deck, but let's try this out. I'm viewing these as like half spells that are going to help me find my reanimation effect, and I'm hoping Stitcher Supplier just randomly hits a creature. We've got another blue deck of some kind. Stitcher Supplier Cabal Therapy is great. I don't want this Dazed. I think I'm just going to go ahead and lead on Thoughtseize here. Oh gosh. Well, actually, Cabal Therapy just takes out both copies of Swords at the same time. I think I take out Snapcaster Mage, so that my opponent can't get Swords back. Then next turn I go Cabal Therapy, Swords, Cabal Therapy, Cauldra. Yeah. So here's that Stoneforge Mystic. Going for pre-war formal wear. Wall Therapy, target you. Goodbye. Swords to Plowshares. Narset is the remaining card. There's Stitcher's Supplier. Very nice. There's now a large creature in graveyard. Ball Therapy, target you. Sacrifice Stitcher's Supplier. And then I do think I name Cauldra. Leaving my opponent with Narset and pre-war formal wear. Well, I accidentally clicked through those. We'll remember that. We don't need to remember it for very long. Now I just need to find a reanimation effect over about the next 4 turns, and I should be good. Okay, there is a land drop to put Narset in play. Notably, Atraxa is not true card draw, so the Narset shutting that off isn't all that scary. So Narset, from my opponent's perspective, is either looking for a clock or for counter magic. Consign to memory. Sure. I sometimes care about that. Like, that happening on the Atraxa trigger is not ideal. It might just be more important to take the pre-war formal wear, though. The pre-war formal wear represents Snapcaster Mage nonsense. Let's get the information about what's coming next. I do not need Dark Ritual. I think I will go ahead and take out pre-war formal wear. Pre-war formal wear can also indirectly represent Snapcaster Consign. Alright, we've got Tamiyo, and we have seen how this goes. And Narset does the Narset thing. 4th Aerlingas. So my opponent could have cast that there to become the Monarch immediately, but then they drop Consign, which doesn't seem great. And I am flooding out here, and I've already used my other Surveil land. So this might be a time where my mulligan to 6 just missed on my handful of redraws and looks, and it doesn't matter that I shredded my opponent's hand because Tamiyo is Tamiyo. So now I suspect that my opponent will cast this for X equals 1. Then I take 3 while my opponent accumulates 2 cards, 1 from Monarch and 1 from Tamiyo. Alright, my opponent is holding back Stoneforge Mystic for some reason, and I don't understand that. Maybe they think I have Bowmasters. I want to protect Narset or something. I would have suspected that this list would be public knowledge by the time that I am recording this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Not there yet. I suspect that by the time I am to a reasonable play, my opponent will have counter magic or interaction beyond just the consign. So I think I am just dead and waiting to die. Maybe my deck can't keep reasonable looking hands and needs to mulligan to an unreasonable hand. Yeah, they're still not attacking with that Stoneforge. Tracking the clue. That is second card drawn. If we see another cantrip or a monarch trigger, then Tamiyo transforms. And Tamiyo transforming means that my opponent will have access to, in theory, multiple consigned to memories or can reuse a counterspell. The Tamiyo does not get to plus immediately since it transformed on end step, though. We are straight up in fetch to thin mode here. There'll be one fetchable Bayou left in the deck after this. Well, I mean, we're gonna try. Opponent has 4 cards plus a clue and can just consign the Atraxa trigger and then potentially remove it with a Swords of Plowshares off of Tamiyo. So this is not overly exciting. All right, trigger. This should get consigned. Yeah. So assuming that my opponent has access to a Swords to Plowshares effect, I am in a pretty bad spot. Again, my opponent is still the Monarch. They have a Tamiyo. They have an extra clue token. Situation is very bad. I also suspect that my opponent is either doing 2 things at once or has a bad internet connection. They are down a lot of time already in game 1, which is not a good place for a control deck to be. Fetching on their turn. Activating a Stoneforge or a Meteor Sword that destroys my Atraxa. Then my opponent can spend 3 mana to equip that, and I just die. They missed lethal. I mean, I'll take it. Well, I'm dead. Let's Thoughtseize my opponent on the way out. For funsies. So they have the blink nonsense. That's not overly surprising here. And I will die. So, things are going to get weird in this matchup as things go long. My opponent has a ton of interaction. Opponent's going to be very good at answering Witherbloom Apprentice with swords and prismatic endings, potentially some other instant speed removal as well. I think the Reanimator stuff is better positioned than the Juke is. I think I'm just sending the game 1 deck, and I know that lost me a game in the previous round, but I feel like the game 1 deck wins more than the post-sideboard Juke. And there's some theory stuff here where, like, you should always Juke if you have a Juke to confuse them for game 3. But I think their swords are still reasonable if they have consigns to stop Atraxa triggers and whatnot. So I don't know that that Juke accomplishes much in terms of confusion. All right. I have kept my opening hand here. It's not perfect. I'm missing the reanimation effect, but I have some selection and a good amount of disruption. I think that's good enough for me. Thoughtseize makes Cabal Therapy better. I think I'll just say no to that. I'm looking for the reanimation effect. Do I want to Lotus Petal and Stitcher's Supplier right now? Nah. Got an island and passing the turn. There's a Grizzlebrand. I'll go ahead and put this into play and make some decisions based on what happens with the Stitcher's Supplier. So for example, if I hit a creature with Stitcher's Supplier, it's much easier for me to unmask my opponent than like having to unmask myself here. Oh, I just naturally hit Cabal Therapy. I guess with multiple Cabal Therapies, I just unmask my opponent here. Opponent brainstorms to hide some goodies. I don't care about Prismatic Ending. Take Teferi. Then Cabal Therapy, target you. Sacrifice Stitcher's Supplier. Alright, there's an Atraxa in Yard. We'll get rid of 4th Aerlingas, leaving my opponent with just a Prismatic Ending. I don't even know that I Cabal Therapy that. I think now I'm just looking to hit one of my 11 things that reanimate a creature. Opponent passes the turn. Here is a new Stitcher's Supplier. Mill 3. Then Cabal Therapy, target you. Back the Stitcher's Supplier. That's what I was going to name. Then I will name the Prismatic Ending that I already knew about. Yeah. So nothing left to hit with this other Cabal Therapy. I'm just passing the turn. We're in the same situation from the opening hand where all I need to do is hit a... Interesting, that was Vista over Archive. Okay. So now my opponent gets to do the Thalia Blink thing and keep the Riddler. And hopefully I don't just fully bottom out here and never draw a reanimation effect. I mean, I'll play it. It reads gain 3 life, or be Cabal Therapy fodder in a minute. Or be Cabal Therapy fodder right now. I think in a minute. There's another land drop that is not Meticulous Archive. Ending on Lotus Petal, sure. Lotus Petal is not particularly... Oh, they just want cards. If that's their attitude, I don't need to block here. I'm not taking 7 this turn. I'm taking 3. Yeah, I'll take 3. Like, I was worried that I was just going to die in 2 attack steps. Now that's not happening. Alright. Cabal Therapy. Target you. Sacrificing a Stitcher's Supplier. We know Meticulous Archive is one of them. Let's start by naming a Force effect. Feels good. So, Dark Ritual, Exhume. I think we are doing the Atraxa here, as it gives me the chance of hitting a Reanimate to just get another creature immediately. I do. So there's Reanimate. There's a Stitcher's Supplier. Haven't hit a land drop this turn, and I can also take an Animate Dead. So this is going to be very cool, I hope. Now I will animate the Grave-Reaver. Mill 3 cards. Did not hit anyone. Cast Stitcher's Supplier. Get another chance at getting a new creature for free. Trigger. Hey, nice. So then this enters, and I repeat again. I did not hit there. I don't have Cabal Therapy left to sacrifice this and try to hit again. But we went from 0 power to 7, 14, 21, 22 power. My opponent has 2 lands. Feels good. Oh, there's the archive coming down now. And my opponent concedes. GG. So we didn't see any graveyard hate that game. Doesn't mean it's not there, but we didn't see it. And we played a relatively slow game where I eventually broke through my opponent's resources. I think I am running it back. I feel good about the game 1 deck. This is, I think, a keep. And sometimes I just discard a card to hand size, and sometimes I unmask myself. Ooh, that's yet another way to do this. Grave-Reaver to hand size here? I think I like Grave-Reaver to hand size here. It's just like very awkward if my opponent happens to have the card Rest in Peace and I don't unmask it immediately. Yeah. Okay, cool. Did not run into it. Do I play a land drop prior to doing this? I think I do. Unmask, target you, pitch Grizzlebrand. Good enough to fetch. There's Thalia. Oh, none of those things. Stop what is about to happen. I'm very surprised that my opponent kept their hand. I'll take... Do I take Quantum Riddler or Stoneforge? Aldra doesn't fly? Aldra doesn't. Well, actually, if I'm... No, it's an Animate Dead. It's not an Exhume. I guess there's Meteor Whoosy What's It. Yeah, Meteor Whoosy What's It matters. So, Dark Ritual, Animate Dead on Grave-Reaver. Do the Grave-Reaver thing. It's a Grizzlebrand. Oh, buddy. Draw 7 cards. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a Stitcher Supplier. Trigger. There's another Grave-Reaver. I will go ahead and take that. That mills 3. I was having fun. I was not done yet, opponent. So when you have 2 of these in play, if you mill and hit 2 creatures, you do get them both. So that was kind of wild. This is what I wanted this deck to do, and this is why I did not deviate from the game 1 deck, despite the risk of Graveyard Hate being scary. GG. Okay, my opening hand is reasonable, but I think I just mulligan things that look like this. This is missing a piece. I can, at great cost, get something into Graveyard, but I can't get it out of Graveyard. I think I'm going to go to 5, and at 5 I won't be picky. Yeah, I think this is just 5. Don't be picky. Keep this, get rid of Unmask and a Cabal Therapy, and hope that this hand sorts itself out. I would like to stop playing against blue decks, though. Let's see which sort of blue deck you are. Opponent fetches. Alright, so probably... Is it Tempo, Blue-Red Delver, Corey Steelcutter, whatever you want to call it? Could also be a Sneak and Show deck, I suppose. Oh, well, you're also combo. I'm taking a Force of Will here. I think I just passed the turn. Sometimes my opponent goes and does something that, not this turn, but maybe the following turn can beat me. There's Valk 2, there's Lotus Petal, there's more other Lotus Petal, which is all fine. Unmask. I'm gonna Thoughtseize you. Presumably, a good card was hidden by Brainstorm that is now in this hand. We are getting a spell in response. Marang River Regent. Oh, it's the Coil and Catch. Draw 3 cards and then discard a card. Sure. Yeah, this is looking like Show and Tell. Okay, yep. Alright, so get rid of Sneak Attack. We know exactly what my opponent has. I don't need to take any of this stuff right now. So the dream is Surveil into a creature. Yeah. And then rip a reanimation card. I mean, is the unknown card a blue card? Let's keep that. And I am just passing the turn here, I think. So Force of Will is now hard castable. Ooh. I think I just cast that. That might be good enough to get the Force of Will. Could also hit Cabal Therapy. Alright, trigger. Okay, that gets a creature into graveyard for reanimate. So now I unmask pitching Grave-Reaver. Opponent can decide whether or not they want to lose 2 life to not show me their last card. That is their attitude. So now I play out Lotus Petal, so this is not dazable. And reanimate Little Buddy. Grave-Reaver trigger. We hit Cabal Therapy. Cabal Therapy, target you. Sacrifice Stitcher's Supplier. Trigger, hit with Grave-Reaver. It's Atraxa. Yeah. This deck is sweet when it works. So, I'm probably expecting a couple of Grafdigger's Cage Surgical Extraction style cards. I also sometimes can reanimate my opponent's creatures. I think I want the Stitcher's Suppliers for Cabal Therapies here. Means that I also... I don't know how to sideboard with this deck, folks. I'm going to be real with you. Because it feels to me like I just want to be playing the Game 1 deck every single time that there is not opposing permanent graveyard hate. Yeah, I think I'm just going to hope that they don't have a cage. I'll go up on Disruption by 3. Oh, Exhumes are a little weird here, huh? So let's try this. Now my Animate Deads and Reanimates are more valuable than they were in Game 1. Alright. Land Dark Ritual. I don't have a way to get things out of the graveyard here. And I have mana problems, so I think I mulligan this. The second one has a lot of disruption. No easy way to get a creature out of the graveyard, which is the most important thing since I have 8 of them instead of 11. But I don't know that I throw back this hand. I think this is just very good at buying time. Oh shit, we're going now. Oh man, the Sneak Attack on turn 1 is way worse than the Show and Tell on turn 1. I have a lot of counterplay for the Show and Tell on turn 1. Okay, it is Cage. Okay. Cage and Magus. That is a rough double whammy. Again, we have 0 ways to get rid of creatures. That good? Like, I can technically cast 1 spell off of this. But I suspect that I'm just dead to that. They do have the permanent graveyard hate, so I'm going to begrudgingly do this, even though I'd rather just try to win on turn 1. I don't like this juke. Not to say that it is bad or anything, I just don't like it. I would rather just have things that answer the permanent graveyard hate. It feels like I don't care about surgicals. I just take those from hand. So what do we do here? Yeah. 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 Or maybe... Yeah. Maybe there is a better way to finesse the post-sideboard configuration. Sure there is. I didn't design the sideboard, obviously. But, like, a lot of times stuff like this is going to happen. That's a mulligan. That has no mana. Now I'm on 5. Am I hoping for Thoughtseize Animate Dead? I guess I'm hoping for Thoughtseize your creature into Animate Dead. That doesn't feel great. We'll keep Spoils to try to put together another plan. I just can't keep the unmasks after already going down some other cards. Get the basic swamp in respect of Magus of the Moon. And Thoughtseize you. It's a Magus of the Moon. I don't know that I want to reanimate that one. And the Emrakul is not great to take. I think I just take the sneak attack and let them have turn 2 Magus. I have a basic swamp in play. But now I don't have something like Entomb to go and get that just helps me get a creature into the graveyard easily. I'll Thoughtseize you. Another City of Traders as the draw. Am I taking the Magus or am I taking the Emrakul? Yeah, not having like Stitcher's Supplier to Spoils of the Vault for Stitcher's Supplier and then try to get a large creature if I'm lucky, which is harder to do with some of these out. Yeah, I find this configuration very awkward. I think I'm going to take the Emrakul and hope that I don't lose to 10-turn Magus of the Moon beatdown. I'll put this into play, I suppose. On it goes for Valk. So here is the Magus. Okay. One unknown card. There's Witherbloom. Alright, it is a blue card, unfortunately for us. I can Animate Dead that as soon as I hit a mountain. Take 2. Things are fine for now, but I am a 14 land deck. Never didn't have it. Animate Dead here. Now I have a 1-2. We're not blocking Magus of the Moon. My opponent does not have access to blue mana. All of their lands are mountains. That's kind of cool for me, I suppose. That's so good. This comes into play untapped. I think it's always safe for me to just attack here. I'm not expecting any bizarro red flash creature or anything. So here is Spoils of the Vault. Opponent needs some sort of counterspell or a braid effect. Can't be a Brazen Borrower bounce. Wow. So just reading this. Choose a card name. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a card with that name. And then put that card into your hand. Exile all other cards revealed this way, and you lose 1 life for each of the exiled cards. So I believe that I just revealed 25 cards without hitting a Chain of Smog. That's magic, baby. GG. My opening hand has no mana. My opening hand leaves a little bit to be desired. I think on 6 this is fine. I have Stitcher's Supplier and Animate Dead, and if I draw a discard spell, I can get an Atraxa out of my hand. Alright, Grizzlebrand, 2 yard. That's pretty ideal. Everybody's playing blue. Cool. Next game. Alright. Look, I'm going to be real with you. After losing to Spoils of the Vault on like 25 cards, I'm not too keen on this. I think I'm going to take Exhumes out and play 3 Duresses. So, these cards in hand are dead. I believe. It feels like I'm such a dog in this matchup. If I wait, my opponent starts to get counterspells and such online like Days. I might just need some discard to have my opening hand be reasonable. Not quite what I meant. I'm going to try 5. This is actually pretty darn good. I'm 100% getting rid of that. I think I get rid of the Stitcher Supplier and try to use this Cabal Therapy on my own Grizzlebrand. I have to deal with my opponent reanimating their stuff, the opponent reanimating my stuff, and their various tempo cards like Barrow-goyfs and Tamios. I really don't like my positioning here. Alright, what's going on? Yeah. So it looks like I'm taking Force of Will, and I'm hoping to spike a land to Cabal Therapy myself and reanimate in the same turn cycle. Otherwise, things get weird. Alright, goodbye, Force. F. Yeah, that kind of makes my hand fall apart. Alright, we are officially going into risky territory. So there is Atraxa in graveyard now. Play Cabal Therapy, target you, sacrifice Stitcher's Supplier. Now I name the Reanimate. Okay. So I have my own Reanimate. My opponent has 1 random draw. If it's a Reanimate or an Animate Dead, I'm dead. And if it's not, they're probably dead. Both games have been decided in the first turn cycle. Okay, I guess technically that's the second turn cycle, but you know. So this has disruption, but I don't do anything with these creatures. I think I have to mulligan this. This is fine. The YOLO hand involves Unmask, Pitch, Thoughtseize, target this, animate dead on turn 1, pitching, Mortuary. I don't know that it is correct to YOLO. I think I'm going to keep this and play a somewhat slower game. Opponent has a Surveil land. I Thoughtseize on 1 and potentially animate dead on 2, potentially. I've drawn this land. Ooh, those are good cards. What land does my opponent have in play? Okay, it is black mana. My opponent's way of getting Atraxa into graveyard is instant speed, which is frustrating for my sorcery speed animate dead. I think I'm going to take Force of Will here. And I think my game plan is unmask them, hope that they... Would they actually Tainted Indulgence in response? I don't know. Ooh. Now I unmask, pitching, reanimate. Who do I unmask? Getting their Atraxa sounds pretty good. If I get rid of my Grave-Reaver to unmask, it's very awkward if they Tainted Indulgence and end up countering. Is it? Commit this extra land to play. Unmask, target you, pitch the Reaver. Fucking Force of Will. Wow. So now if I take Atraxa, attempt to reanimate, force, pitch, ponder, and then they get to reanimate. So now my entire turn falls apart. And they get to sculpt. I'll junk the reanimate. And then I get punished for playing out my land ahead of time, presuming that I was casting spells. Just wrong. So there's the Tainted Indulgence. Getting rid of a Delta. Yeah, so now I just have to deal with this shit while contending with Force of Will. We're dead. I'm not going to get through Tamiyo, who either rebuys Force of Will or rebuys Reanimate or rebuys Tainted Indulgence. It takes a little while to lose, but I think the damage has been done. Jeez. Now I don't even get to like try twice in ideal circumstances. I lose Animate Dead. Alright, yeah. Top card be a creature, please. Negative. I think I have to hold this 2 Thoughtseize and Reanimate in the same turn cycle, but I think opponent easily wins from here. Tamiyo is plussing, and then there is more other Tamiyo. I've bricked on another draw, so I believe next turn I have to do something that somehow gets a creature into the graveyard. So I think I just lose Reanimate here, and then I have no outs to win versus the Tamiyo plus. Oh, I lost the Thoughtseize. The opponent just has Force of Will to stop whatever I do. Or Thoughtseizes again. I think we can just dip here. Both Tamiyos in action while I have effectively no cards. We're done here. GG. Alright, opening hand is all discard and mana here, nothing to do with it. Second hand has no mana. Don't think that I'm willing to keep this one. I think I'll go to 5 rather than try to luck sack into some mana. Alright, what does this 4-card hand look like? Land, Dark Ritual, Cabal Therapy, target myself. Or alternatively, we try to take it slower and do something that looks like this instead. This is the line that potentially sets up for a turn 2 with disruption. I think I'm into that. Alright, non-blue for a round. Land drop, Pitcher's Supplier, hitting a Grizzlebrand. Alright, so I have the reanimate for next turn. Let's unmask my opponent then. Pitching Cabal Therapy. We can take out something like a Chalice. I just take out Ral here. And then hopefully I just go wild with Grizzlebrand next turn. There's a depletion land as the draw. No, we are not reanimating Ral. Reanimate, target Grizzlebrand. I think on average it is positive for my win percentage to draw 7 cards here. Go ahead and go to punchies, attack you for 1, then fetch to 4. Ball Therapy, target you, naming Ren's Resolve. We're going to get 2 copies of that with the Cabal Therapy. And now Ball Therapy, target you, sacrifice Stitcher Supplier, mill 3, and we'll name the Jessica's Will, leaving my opponent with 2 basic mountains. And I've got a 7/7 lifelinker in play. Next turn, I get an Atraxa off of Animate Dead as well. So I think we're done here. So first things first, get out of burn range. Then I'm fine. No, not your graveyard. Your graveyard's not interesting. Animate Dead on Atraxa. Trigger. We will go and unmask a Grave-Reaver, a Dark Ritual, a Lotus Petal, a Polluted Delta. Put a gajillion D cards in hand here. Cast Lotus Petal. Unmask myself. Pitching a Grizzlebrand. Discarding a Colossal Grave-Reaver. I guess I can just play Swamp. Dark Ritual. Animate Dead on Colossal Grave-Reaver. Trigger. Milling. I could try to go deeper with drawing Grizzlebrand cards. I think I'm just going to Thoughtseize. Storm, exile an instant or sorcery with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard at random. Cast it without mana cost. Sure. I'll get rid of that and call that a turn. And then we just have lethal on the next swing here. That was pretty darn good. What was that, a 4-card hand? I think that was a 4-card hand. Yeah, that's a 4-card hand. And here on turn 4, I have 3 reanimated bodies. We'll take it. That's the upside of playing this deck. And my opponent has conceded. GG. I think I have Forsaken those 12 cards. Let's do some trimming around the edges. I'm not sure how to value Grizzlebrand. Drawing 7 cards is bananas. Going down on my life total versus a deck that probably wants to do things like Grape Shot me or Lightning Bolt me a large number of times is probably not ideal. I don't know, it's possible I should leave 1 more creature in, go down 1 Exhume. This hand doesn't do anything. This is my 6. I don't have a way to get the creature into the graveyard. I won last time on 4. I think I just keep mulliganing. This is highly disruptive. I keep like... I think I will keep this highly disruptive hand. I'll get rid of Exhume and maybe 1 Cabal Therapy here. Opponent is going to 4. They are mulliganing towards a Leyline. I'm unhappy about that. And I will be forced to bring in Witherbloom, Apprentice, Chain of Smog for the next game once I know they have that. Ancient Tomb, sure. Fetch. I'm going to get the basic. I'm going to go Thoughtseize over Duress because I would like to hit a creature that I can reanimate and start whacking my opponent with. Morale's awkward. That is transformed under owner's control. Duress you. Anamorphose in response to try to hit a land or creature so that I don't actually take something with this spell. Failure. Mortuary. That's just another Mortuary. I'm going to take that because another path to victory is just hard cast some 8 mana card. It just doesn't feel particularly good. So land drop, pass. I guess if I don't cast instants or sorceries during my turn, I can just have Ral attack. A little weird. No to Thoughtseize. I guess my discard is actively bad at this point. Yeah. Okay. We'll send some cards to exile. I'll reanimate a Ral. I'm attacking for 2 per turn cycle. That's an 8-turn clock. That's not particularly good, but it's what I'm working with. 2. Opponent is just hitting land drops. Grave-Reaver doesn't do me any good here. Send in for 2 more. 12. All right. Another Stitcher Supplier is another point of damage per turn cycle. We'll take it. Down to 10. Stitcher Supplier. I don't think I know what I want to Cabal Therapy. It's probably mana, but like there's a real risk. Oh, this is a May. Okay, cool. In which case I might just be doing a Cabal Therapy on something like Seething Song that is not good until my opponent has things that go with it. So Cabal Therapy, use Tails. I will not use that ability. Let's try to take some mana. Nice. Rite of Flame, the ley line, which I'm just going to cross out. I don't think mana is enough of a bottleneck that I take Rite of Flame from hand at the cost of damage right now. On it tapped and untapped a land, considered casting something and then didn't. Unmask is fine. Unmask, target you. Pitching Atraxa, which is the least castable of these. I'll take a damage off of Ral. So there is a Ral. I guess I take over Rite of Flame. Send in for 3. Ral's legendary. I don't want to reanimate it. I don't think I need to Cabal Therapy. Why am I saying Cabal Therapy? I don't have that. That went to exile. Friends Resolve. For a Ruby Medallion. That is totally fine. There's another Ancient Tomb. My opponent can cast that Ruby Medallion. They get one more draw step, and they gotta run super hot off the top. Not gonna Exhume. Do not need to give my opponent a Ral. So Ancient Tombs are off. Pass. Hey, we win a match. That means that we put 2 wins on the board today for a 2-3 finish. GG. Alright, so let's go ahead and wrap this one up here. Overall thoughts on the deck list. I really like the Game 1 deck. I like the Game 1 deck a lot. I don't like the sideboard. You know, scoreboard, it won a Legacy Challenge. This sideboard is not for me. I would rather just have things that address Leylines and Grafdigger's Cages and maybe some standalone cards that are just good. You know, your Douthie Voidwalkers, your Barrowgoyfs, and things like that. That is more my style, personally. It's possible that I should have been mulliganing more than I was and not accepting things that were close. And it may be that if you're playing this, you just kind of YOLO harder with your mulligans, going to 5 or 4 more consistently in hopes of doing something quickly. Because Colossal Grave-Reaver can make it so that you just do nuts things that aren't addressable by a single Swords to Plowshares or another similar single target removal spell. There is a lot of raw power here. I like what is here a lot. Would play again. Probably wouldn't register the same sideboard if I did, but the deck designer certainly knows how to sideboard and utilize that sideboard better than I did. So your mileage may vary if you get in a bunch of reps with this. And with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and call it a day, folks. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, consider leaving a like on the way out. It helps a lot with the analytics, which super matter right now. All right. Have a good day, folks. See ya.